Alright, in the next episode of the 5 series, we're going to get into some roots rock reggae. 5 of my favourite roots rock reggae albums. What is roots rock reggae? It's a subgenre of reggae that's based around, for the most part, spiritualism, Rastafarianism, and just the roots, the foundation is for the people. Alright, and I'm made famous by Bob. I'm not going to have any Bob Marley in this selection here because I assume you know about Bob Marley and you've done your research on Bob, so I'll leave that aside and just focus on other artists that I grew up with based on my background as a first generation Jamaican from London. Okay, so first up, Threadlocks. Very important record in my household growing up. Black Star Liner, filled with bangers. I'd never outgrew it. I heard this album constantly as a child, and to this day it's still an incredible album filled with classics. Sing Along, Black Star Liner, I've Got a Joy, just filled with bangers. Very important record, very important album in the roots rock reggae canon. Burning Spear. As a child I wasn't really into Spear. I found his voice really odd, couldn't really get into him, he was a bit heavy. But as I grew older, I got really into Spear. He's in his own lane, he's kind of soulful, melodic, has a nasally voice, just almost has his own subgenre within the roots rock reggae genre, but he's very important. You can't really get into roots rock reggae and bypass Burning Spear. He's an iconic artist of the genre. Next up, who's next up? Dennis Brown, the crown prince of reggae. Wolves and Leopards, probably my favourite Dennis Brown album, but his output throughout the 70s and into the 80s and some of the late 60s too when he was a little kid is really good too. Or Top Draw, important artist. He's called the crown prince of reggae for a reason. Just look him up and you'll find out. Beautiful voice. And Wolves and Leopards, the title track, is an iconic record. Augustus Pablo, I to the Dub. The only dub record in this selection here. I don't buy a lot of dub records. I prefer to buy them on 45, but this is an album I revisit again and again. Dennis Brown shared the crown prince title with Jacob Miller, arguably, and Jacob Miller pops up on a couple of these tracks. Great album. And next up is Culture. This is an under the radar band somewhat. It's a band I grew up around. They have a track on here called Tell Me Where You Get It, I think it's called. Tell Me Where You Get It. And just this album in general is solid. But that track I mentioned was a track that was constantly playing at weddings and celebrations like when I was a child. So it's a very important album, a great album, beautiful cover. 5 records to get you into roots rock reggae. Get it done. Peace.